There's been two interviews this morning that are worth looking at in a bit of detail because they give the background to, I suspect, where the headlines are going to go today, and they're going to constrain the Prime Minister. Either she's going to have to sack somebody or she's going to have to admit that she has no power. So the two interviews that I'm interested in are, number one, an interview by Penny Mordaunt that I've already flagged up, and number two, an interview by Brandon Lewis, who's the Justice Secretary man. Brandon Lewis does it by the book. This is what he says about Liz Truss's desire to be unpopular. Liz Truss, obviously, she's not going to command confidence, she's not going to command trust, she's not going to command respect, but she can still make an entire career out of being unpopular. Listen to what he says here.
Less than 2 weeks ago, she was telling our Beth Rigby that she was happy to be unpopular. Does she no longer believe in herself?
Well, she does, and I think the two things actually are a complementary point. They're not mutually exclusive. Look, what the Prime Minister has outlined is, look, there are difficult decisions, the things we have to do to move the economy, to change the way we're doing things. It will change.
And this is Brandon Lewis dealing adroitly with the question about the welfare spending, the benefit spending, and it being in line with the rise in inflation.
The right reasons.
And does that stretch to capping a rise in benefit payments to average earnings rather than inflation, which would be a difference between, I suppose, 5.5% and 10%, so half as much?
He doesn't answer the question.
Well, I think we're getting into conjecture. There is a process around this. The Department of Work and Pensions, Chloe Smith, the Secretary of State, works through that over the autumn. She will make some announcements around that. I'm not going to prejudge what that will be, but what I would say to people before people get too concerned about this is we've got a track record as a government for many years, right through COVID and most recently in this package that the Chancellor announced, of doing
the constant harping on about Kwasi's amazing package, this package the Chancellor has announced, which, of course, is the subject of the U-turn. Why does everybody go on about his package? I don't know.
As I say, the benefits structure is one that goes through a proper process. We've got to let that process happen, and the work and pensions.
And this is Penny Mordaunt. Now, the interviewer is quite persistent, so she could possibly claim that the interviewer got her to say something which was inappropriate. That is one way out for her, but I don't think that is a reliable way. A senior cabinet minister who actually at one point wanted to be prime minister should be in control of her words. So I suspect this is a ploy. She has planted her little needle of naughtiness in here with enough ambiguity that she has a back exit if she wants one. But frankly, this is sabotage, and this is a knife in the back for Liz Truss. Listen to what
So do you think that when Boris Johnson, the elected Prime Minister, said that the benefits should rise in line with inflation, was he wrong to have done that? Or do you think that that Liz Truss, who hasn't been voted for by anyone apart from a small group of Tory party members, do you think she should abide by the same place?
Both on welfare, but also on the pension lock, for example, that we brought in. You know, the older you are, the higher your cost of living. These things were brought in for a reason. But it's quite right. And absolutely, and the Prime Minister has been committed to that. So we're not about, trying to help people with one hand and take it away with another. But we do need to look at these, just like households and businesses are facing these cost challenges, so are governments, departments and the services that they run. But all that needs to be looked at. It will be brought forward in the proper way. Cabinet will be involved in that, and you can expect to be.
And here is the interviewer trying again.
I'll try once more. Do you think that benefits should rise in line with inflation?
I have always supported, whether it's pensions, whether it's our welfare system, keeping pace with inflation. It makes sense to do so. So that's what I voted for before, and so have a lot of my colleagues. But we do need to look at where we can make efficiency savings just because of the cost challenges.
And you'll see at the end, Penny Mordaunt tries very hard to square her naughtiness with a reference to the long history of 12 years in Conservative government, and she points out again and again and again in her interview that she has worked for multiple prime ministers in multiple cabinets. She has the history. And therefore, it's going to be very difficult. She's actually squaring off against Liz Truss, and she's saying it's going to be very difficult for you to sack me because I am senior. So should Liz Truss sack Penny Mordaunt, that will be a serious scalp.